Welcome back to the Backlog Boys podcast at the cinema. With you, hopefully, forevermore and always, the connoisseur of this podcast, Samuel.
Hey, how you doing? I think you meant to say concierge, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know where I don't know where's they're not English.
Sam is the connoisseur.
You also are the...
What's a connoisseur?
Isn't it
the
just like
expert,
an expert?
like
Yeah.
An expert on something?
Yeah, a concierge is a completely different thing. We have Lobby Boy Alexander.
Is it because I'm brown?
No, it's because you're wearing a hat. Wow. Look at society. No, I'm just joking. And then there's me. I can't even think of another character on top of my head.
You can be the private inspector,
Mr. X
the
or whatever his name is.
I'm the...
He was in a
Surge.
The lawyer. I'm the lawyer.
the deputy Kovacs. So yeah, you'd just be deputy Omar.
I'm deputy. All those things.
Yeah.
I'm me, Omar, the director. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's me. If you couldn't tell, there's no way you could tell. We're talking about the Grand Budapest Hotel. I hope that's actually the name of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, oh, it's actually technically called this.
No, it's
But
not.
Wes Anderson film,
Mhm.
2014. This movie is a Samuel movie,
Hey,
and I'm glad he chose it.
thanks.
So just FYI, this is going to be a speed run stats and facts. Let's just say time was minimal for this one.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're experimenting a bit, and we
Not
decided
that
to-
kind.
We watched this.
We watched this, and then we decided to record immediately after, which is different from our usual recording process, which is watching it by ourselves, taking notes, and then getting together to record. So if this one sucks, that's why.
Yeah, we literally saw it like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. So
And I totally don't have the wiki page open right in front of me, ready to pull out these epic stats and facts.
go for it, Omar. You want to take it away, or what's up?
Budget, $25 million.
Okay.
Honestly, I thought it'd be less. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought I wouldn't be that high, even though 25 is not that high. The box office. I was also surprised by this. 172 million.
Wow.
.9. This is largest movie budget. Largest box office ever made in all his movies so
That makes
far.
sense.
Is this movie or
Yeah.
whatever? I think it's also his most acclaimed movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like Oscar wise, 9 nominations at the Academy Awards. It won 4.
It was nominated for Best Picture, Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Original Score, Best Production, and Best Production Design. It won for Costume, Makeup and Hairstyling, Original Score, and Production Design.
You know one original
Okay.
screenplay?
No. I wonder what ended up winning that one, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, Birdman.
Birdman, okay.
That's kind of I don't know if you have any guys seen Birdman.
I saw Birdman years ago, like when it came out.
I have
Yeah,
not seen
I think I watched it like because the same guy who made The Revenant.
Yeah.
So I watched Birdman after watching The Revenant. That's pretty like that must have been a pretty difficult award to pick between those two movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because Birdman is also shot like incredibly as well.
Mhm.
It's just different style, but it's also like just top tier like directing or whatever.
Okay, I might
Yeah.
have to watch that soon.
You definitely should watch it. Maybe it's
Yeah.
on the list. I have no idea. To be
Yeah, I
honest.
don't think it is.
We-
It
we
is.
can
Maybe we
add
should
it
put it on.
later.
Yeah, it's a really great movie.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that movie. Fuck the movie that won.
Yeah.
We're talking about the movie that should have won.
Yeah.
Budapest Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Samuel's the only one who's seen this movie. Me and Alexander have not seen this at all.
Yeah, this is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I've actually been really interested for the longest time in seeing this movie. Like I remember seeing advertisements for when it came out, and it like struck me as really interesting. But I just never got around to it because I was like 14 when it came out. I wasn't gonna go to the theater to watch it, and my parents. When I would get movies, it would be with my parents, and I don't think they'd be down for this kind of thing.
They'd be genuinely confused.
Yeah, so I just never ended up watching it, and then I kept seeing clips of it on YouTube, and then like I bought the Blu-ray, and that was like in November, and I've watched it like 6 times now.
Also, you've seen it like
lot.
your first time was recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
Now it's like your favorite movie.
it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I really really enjoy this, and actually I think it was on your list now that I think about it, but
it must have been because you already seen it. So why'd it be weird if you
yeah, if I had put it up.
like? I think because I've seen Isle of Dogs, which is it was the second to last famous movie, recent movie.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And I also watched. I'm gonna make sure they say the name right. Moonrise Kingdom. I thought there was more to that, but I guess there's not.
That's it.
But I've seen those two movies, and I think Moonrise Kingdom. I didn't even know that was Wes Anderson. I don't know why I watched. I just ended up watching. I didn't like it, to be honest.
Which one?
Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I did watch. It was okay.
Yeah.
But then Isle of Dogs I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, now I want to see a good live action version of it. And I have heard of this movie before. I was I was gonna show you by my hand. You can't see it. I was really close to buying the movie once because I really wanted to watch it. But I guess that day I was just like, yeah, maybe another time.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it fell into the backlog, if you will. But yeah, I think I really want to watch it. And obviously Sam, since he's just watched it not too long, he's always like, yeah, dude, Grandpa. I remember every time we've hanging out since that time, you're always like, dude, Grandpa Hotel.
It comes up at least once every time.
Yeah.
Or he mentions a Wes Anderson movie in general.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, you need to see this movie. Like, it's so good. Like, please watch it.
I think Alexander is probably the least.
Oh no, I've had friends recommend it to me before.
Yeah.
I thought it sounds good. I have friends.
And like with I have one friend. And with Wes Anderson films, like I remember growing up seeing the trailer and advertisement for Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I just every time I just thought, I'm like, this is a kid's movie. I don't want to see this. I'm a grown up now.
You're saying cartoons can't be for old adults?
Have you ever seen Rick and Morty?
That's back when I was a child. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was growing up. I wasn't. I'm still kind of iffy on watching that movie because it looks so different compared to this.
It's good. You should. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Now I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the first 15 minutes of it. And I was upset that I couldn't finish the movie. Like, I was really excited. And I saw this like maybe like a month ago. Phantom of the Fox. I watched like 15 minutes, and I was like, "This is epic. I love this."
Yeah.
And sadly I didn't get to finish it.
Well, Wes Anderson is just has a very particular style, so it's one of those things where if you see one of his movies and kind of like it, then you're probably gonna at least kind of like every other movie he's made. Because I haven't seen a movie of his that I didn't like so far.
Name them all.
All the movies or all the ones I've seen?
All the ones you've seen. I have the list of all the movies.
Sure. I've seen The Darjeeling Limited from 2007, Fantastic Mr. Fox from 2009, Moonrise Kingdom from 2012, Budapest, obviously, The French Dispatch, and everything else is either in production or I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, all the other stuff are like 2004, 2001, 90. Like, they're pretty oldish.
Yeah, but those are still good. Like, I've heard Rushmore is really good. The Royal Tenenbaum's pretty good. But I really like... It's one of those things where you can kind of get anyone to watch these kinds of movies because there's always going to be at least one actor they know. Oh, we've got Bill Murray, we've got Ben Stiller, we've got Owen Wilson, we've got all these guys. So it's easy to grab someone and tell them, hey, you know this guy, watch this movie with me. So
what was his first movie?
It was
Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket,
okay.
yes, 1996.
I feel like if I'm gonna watch another Wes Anderson film, it's probably gonna be that one. I like seeing like
the origin story.
Director first film.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good idea. Yeah,
that's what I did when I got into Tarantino. I saw
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs, yeah.
I do love them.
Oh, I bought it. I haven't seen it yet.
Is it on your list? Is it on your list?
It's on my list.
I think it was on your list, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie. But enough pitter pattering around. Is that a bug? No. Enough pitter pattering around. Let's talk about the actual movie itself. I'll just say it outright. What a great fucking movie.
Oh, yeah. It was terrific.
Yeah, it's such a delight. Like, again, like the reason I think it's one of my favorite movies is just like it's such a treat to watch it because it's so different and bright and vibrant that, you know, watching other movies, they're either very static or not as visually interesting. There's so many frames in this movie alone that like could just be paintings, and I would have them hung up on my wall. You know, like
there's so many movies, especially like more now. Like they just love gray. Like they just love making their movie just really gray,
dark,
and it's like. Even like the colorful stuff is sometimes it's just like it's either too colorful because like it's like a kids movie or something, or it's like a
they're trying to be serious.
Yeah, like a serious movie.
Let's make it dark.
Or they're like orange, like they got their because everyone's like tanned orange or whatever.
Yeah,
like, you know, like this movie just like this color pops. Everything's just super colorful. Like this isn't like real world shit, honestly.
Yeah,
like it's just like fucking the hotel's like pink in the inside. The fucking like everyone's wearing like bright purple. The cupcakes are weirdly designed. I don't even know what they were. I couldn't even describe what the design of those cupcakes were.
They're just like balls on top of each other. Or something. Like everything's so like strangely put together, but it's like visually interesting.
Like Wes Anderson to me is one of those guys who I think he puts like everything and he has into making a movie. Because I feel like me watching this, I 100% I'm like, this is all Wes Anderson. I can't imagine someone being like, you should do this. Like I think he like this is what I want to do. And I'm going to do it how exactly I want to do. And it's kind of rare, sadly. Because a lot of directors who are great directors have to work for a company. And usually the company's like, you have to do this. Or they do like on a franchise, like a Marvel, Fast and Furious. Like where like you kind of have to do a certain things. And if you don't, you get fired, which happens a lot. Yeah. And like, you end up, it's like they end up making their own movie. And they're like, wow, they should have made all those movies like that. Wes Anderson is one of those guys who just, I don't think he really has like, I haven't seen him all, so I can't feel like he has he must have as a confined to someone. But I assume at least all his like movies from at least like the 2000 onwards are all like considered unique. I think it's like what him, Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah,
like those are the guys like they kind of just do whatever they want.
Yeah,
and like no one can be like, no, you can't, because they're like, oh shit, like they're already like famous now.
Yeah,
like when you see Wes Anderson, you're like either you're in or you're like, well, that looks interesting.
Yeah,
I can't imagine someone being like, ew, Wes Anderson.
Well, there are people like that.
Yeah,
like,
obviously, not everyone likes everything.
Well, it's like how when people hear about Tarantino, they're like, no, it's super violent or super like strange. Like some people don't like Tarantino for that. I've heard people like not like Wes Anderson movies because they're like artsy and too like quirky for them, which I can get.
I'm gonna agree with what you said earlier, and like you said, it was like a treat, right?
Yeah,
that's what this is. This is like the dessert of movies. You can never go wrong with desserts. And like I haven't seen the rest of his movies, but I know for sure this one, like this is like something that I feel most people would like.
Yeah,
because there's like it's comedic. I feel like there's some seriousness in there if you look for it.
Yeah,
it's something for everyone.
It's also like an hour and 40. So it's not like it's a super long movie.
It's not too long.
And honestly, this movie's like pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
It just goes.
Yeah.
And like the times where like it kind of goes slower, it's usually because like you're invested enough at that point. You're like, I want to keep watching. Like I never even thought once to like, let me pull out my phone. I mean, even though we're all together, like even so we kind of fucked up to do it in front of each other. But like, oh fuck this. But like I was like, I'm in. And I was scared at some point. I'm like, is the movie over now? Like I don't want the movie to end. Like, I just want to keep going and going and going.
I mean, I feel like the cast adds to that. Like, who's the lead?
Ralph
Fiennes.
Yeah,
Mr. Voldemort himself.
I didn't know that before, but like,
also you're not a Harry Potter guy, so I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, no, but like every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Because I don't know, I don't know his name. I know the actor, and I know every time I enjoy the movie he's in normally.
Yeah.
Like the last Kingsman movie had him and people aren't liking it too much, and I'm just like, this was great.
Probably not his fault either.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's definitely one of those actors that I always look out for him and see what he's up to, because it's always interesting to see his kind of stuff. I really didn't know he was Voldemort until I was looking at his wiki. And like now I like.
You see it?
No, I don't see it. It's one of those things where
actually, am I the only one who's seen Harry Potter?
I've seen some of those.
And he doesn't sound like Voldemort.
I'm not
either.
a Potterhead, but like
I've never heard of that term.
Yeah, but there is a term. I just don't care to know it.
Yeah, no,
but,
nerds.
But like I don't see it. Like it's almost like a different person. You know what I mean?
It's the power of makeup, baby.
I guess, yeah.
Because I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. He's also not in all of them, anyways.
Yeah.
But when I watched those movies, I didn't even know who this guy was at the time. And then there's a movie. It's a Coen Brothers movie, Hail Caesar, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he's not even a main. He's like a side character. And I'm like, oh, that's someone was like, that's Voldemort. And I'm like, this guy's a great fucking actor. Because in that movie, he's kind of like this character, just kind of take the flamboyance, because he's a director in that movie. He's like a director, and he talks exactly the same how he talks in this movie. Just like a serious version of him though. And he's just so good in that movie. And he's only in it like that scene he's in maybe like 10-20 minutes, and that's probably it. And he's so good. And I was like, when I found out he's the main character of this movie, I was like, I'm in. Because now I'm guaranteed he's going to be in it almost the whole time. Yeah. The other movie I know he's in, it's like some old-ass movie that won an Oscar no one thought it was. He's like a pilot, but like his fucking face gets burned off, basically.
Oh my God.
I forgot what it's an old movie. It's like 2001 or something.
I know he's in the 007 stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's in the newer James Bond movie. Was it Q?
He's M in the
M.
Craig films.
Yeah, he's M, I think.
I've seen only the last two. And he's like, again, it's not because of him. His character's whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like...
He just makes a quick appearance.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Like, but in this movie, like, I think Wes Anderson, he gets great actors to still be great. And he kind of gets actors who normally... I'm not saying they're bad, but he definitely gets the best out of those actors as well.
Yeah.
And he gets them to do... He gets them to do so many things for such a small amount of time for names you wouldn't think would do it for that.
Yeah, I mean,
like if you think about all the actors in this movie, most of the big name ones, they're not in it. They're maybe in it for like 5 minutes less.
You guys hyped up Bill Murray.
I did not say. I did not.
In the last, at the end of Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters episode, I said Bill Murray's in this one, but he's like not really.
He's in it for like 5 minutes.
I went in thinking Bill Murray was going to be a big part of this movie, and he's in it for like 2 scenes.
Yeah, I think what's really funny with Wes Anderson and Bill Murray is that. He uses them a lot sometimes, and sometimes he's like there for a minute and that's it. And like It's like one of those things. I remember seeing an interview recently where they were talking to him about it, and Bill Murray was like, "Oh yeah, like I don't care, like I just say yes. Like if he asks me to do something, I'll just go and do it. Like, of course."
I think that's how he gets people.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people in it.
Yeah.
He's like, most of those people in this movie have made a movie already. I imagine with him in it.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where once he gets you, like you're gonna be in a lot of his stuff later on.
Like you just want to be in it or whatever.
He's a well-liked director. Yeah.
And like again, like those, like the scenes where like Bill Murray's characters in it, like it's not like he like just shot this in his backyard.
It's not
like
a cameo.
He's like dressed up and very like he has to say certain words and a certain mannerism. Like it's not just a generic like, hey, I am Bill Murray. He's actually like going at it.
Yeah.
Owen Wilson's also, and he's barely in it. Like also less than 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And again, his thing is also pretty. Like he has to wear like a get up. There's a good amount of acting he has to do with these other guys as well. So it's not like hey, just record yourself on a phone or something. You know?
Yeah, no, they have actual scenes to them. They serve a purpose to the story, even if it's not a lot.
Yeah.
They're not just quick one and done cameos.
Yeah, and in other movies with other directors, this could be just like a C tier or a B tier, actor, or just a no name who would fill in these roles. But Wes Anderson is so particular about who he wants to play certain roles that he tries his best to get them, even if it's a small bit.
Yeah. I think if you could change some of those words in that sense. Where if anyone else made this movie, it wouldn't be as great. It'd be terrible probably, or just whatever.
Yeah.
Like Wes Anderson, like because he's like I think he wrote the screenplay for this. He's obviously the director, producer. Like he's obviously like his kind of his thing or whatever.
Yeah.
He obviously has some help, but like anyone else, like say for some weird reason, like we have to make this movie.
Yeah.
And when Wes Anderson couldn't direct and someone else did, like unless it's like they're like the best of the best, this movie would be boring.
Yeah.
It's like because technically, if you really think about it. The plot's pretty like generic. Like it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
But the way he makes it and the way the stories unfold and the way the actors like do certain scenes, it's funny, it's entertaining, and you're like hooked in.
Yeah.
Because like the idea of like this, what is his actual title? Ralph Fiennes' character. What's his like job's title?
He's a concierge.
He's a concierge. So he's a concierge, and a lady dies, and they think he did it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's basically the plot of the movie.
Yeah, like in a sense. Yeah.
It's just like it's just so fun.
Yeah.
Like Alex said it right, like it's like a dessert.
Yeah.
Like, it's just this again fast paced fun.
Something you can have whenever.
I can imagine like you're just like you also want to watch a movie, pop this shit in.
Yeah.
Like, this is so like this. I feel so bad because we're just saying it's so good. It's so good. Again, we just watched it like 5 minutes ago.
It's less. This is becoming less of like an analysis and more just like we're gushing about.
Why is this movie so good?
Yeah. Well, we can continue about performances. What's his name? The guy who plays Flash Thompson. I wish I knew the character's name. Zero is his character. But the actor is named Tony Revolori, I think. Yeah, Tony Revolori. And he plays Zero, the lobby boy who just starts off with the Grand Budapest.
He's basically the second main character of this whole movie.
Yeah, and we actually follow him through different versions of his life. This movie opens up with a completely like far removed view of this, with like a girl in like a punk rock outfit, like an indie girl going to like a funeral from this.
I thought she was like a Girl Scout.
No,
she was like a school girl.
I thought she was a Girl Scout.
She's got like metal pins on her.
I thought that was like
on her jacket,
like,
and then under there it says like thrash or something in like metallic letter.
Like this is the very beginning, so I was kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah. Like, and then she starts reading this book about the Grand Budapest, which is about this author who met Zero. So then,
an older age.
Yeah. So then it talks about him meeting Zero, and then it goes further in deeper, and then it's like about how Zero became the owner of the Grand Budapest. So it starts off at the very end of the story, and then bit by bit you kind of figure out how things became the way they are at the end of it.
Small little puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're basically Inception. Like you're like it's a story told through a story to a story to like someone else through someone else or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you get like what 3 different narrations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Technically through this movie or whatever.
Yeah.
And like once you hear it, you automatically understand who's telling you the story because all the 3 of those guys' voices are like distinct or whatever.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that Jude Law was on the movie more. I love Jude Law.
Yes.
And him in this movie was also great.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a single actor who like does a bad job, really. Like, I mean, Jeff Goldblum is Deputy Kovacs, and he plays this role to a T. He's this quirky lawyer.
His reading of like him like acting like little acting wise, like him reading that, like imagine that script, and he has the way he like talks. I think that's what Jeff Goldblum has been known more now than he has been before.
Yeah.
Where like he's good at like just saying so many words that you literally have no idea what he's actually saying, but you get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't repeat a single thing he said, but I know what he was telling me.
He has a
Like,
very
I understand it or
distinct
whatever.
voice.
I was gonna describe a whole movie. Like some of the shit I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But it also tells you kind of like without actually telling you things.
Yeah.
But like quickly back to Jeff Goldblum again. Like yeah, he has one kind of bigger scene when he's kind of like announcing like the death, the whatever,
The will, yeah.
the will, and like that whole scene is like I was like I love this.
Yeah, and that's one shot. Like
That's all. Like nothing. Like a lot of it is like just one shots, and then like even if they cut away, it's shot in a way where you think it's still going, but technically it's kind of still cut. But
yeah,
it is just like keep going and going. Like you know where you are at. Like because the camera stops. So you're kind of like you are the camera a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So when a character leaves the screen, you like turn your head to follow them in
like
another room,
pans
another
over.
hallway. Yeah.
It's it lets you soak in the visuals of the movie so much, because a lot of movies that I've noticed that we've watched so far, when like two characters are talking, for example, right, it'll just flip back and forth between different perspectives of like a front-facing camera. And in this movie, it'll usually just frame it so that the two characters are both on screen at the same time while they're doing this dialogue, and then you can see this great view in the background. And it's usually in one take, or they'll do small little cuts, but it lets you sit there and like soak in the scene, you know.
And there are also scenes where like again like they do have like they're talking just like you see we'll cut the one guy's face and it cuts another face, but it's not cut. It like you just turn.
Yeah,
like you actually turn
It's
with
like
it or whatever.
Like a POV shot.
Like I think there's only maybe one shot on top of my head I can think of, like one conversation where it was just cut.
Yeah,
But the way that was cut, it was just funny.
Yeah,
and it was entertaining or whatever. Like this movie, like because you feel like you're there. Like because ironically enough, because it's a story being told as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I imagine you're the guy who's receiving the story. Like you're picturing this.
I don't know.
Because usually when you read a book, the book tells you everything that you need to know of a setting. Like it describes you now, so you can kind of picture yourself there, but you're not technically there. So like you're kind of the camera guy of this throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because like technically no one looks at the camera really, like, but it's always in an area where you can see everything
like
going on.
Person.
Yeah. Yes. That's how I think all the movies are like that anyways. But in this movie, that makes sense to me.
It's exactly how I felt.
Like it feels like you are reading this book, but visually, technically. I guess.
Like it's like picturing every single scene, and
because I imagine if I read like a book that's this, I probably wouldn't care. Because I'd just be like, this is boring.
Yeah.
You probably have to describe all the things that are going on. I just wouldn't care. So like visually, it's just perfect. And I also think him and Edgar Wright. I don't know why I almost said Allan Poe. The fucking the poem where Edgar Wright. Did I say his name right? Yeah, Edgar Wright.
You're talking about the director? Or the actor?
Yes. No, wait. Who's the director?
The director is Edgar Wright, like the guy who did Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
Oh, you made a face. I was like, wait,
because there's another Edward in this movie. But
I think like Edgar Wright also like does this perfect where like he uses the visual medium like to its maximum.
Yeah.
At least I mentioned over like a lot of shots are like statics in movie. There's kind of generic or whatever. And even like the great movies, sometimes it's kind of like I'm kind of like, all right, like I get this, move on.
Yeah.
But like with Wes Anderson, like as Sam mentioned, like even if you're not like paying attention to the characters, the background is so nice looking. You're like that's enough to take your focus.
Except for one.
Well, I guess we'll talk about that. And I think Edgar Wright does that with like how he writes dialogue and jokes as well, where like all things a lot of stuff is visual.
Yeah.
I think visual comedy is like the perfect kind of comedy you can do.
Yeah. And more on that, like I think these worlds feel lived in. Like
they feel real.
They feel so real because
but there's still enough where like it's not real.
Yeah.
You know.
But there's like people moving in the background doing their own things, but it's not like in like I don't know, even like an MCU movie where there's background characters. They're kind of there, but they're not really the focus. Like it's not interesting to see what they're doing. They're just there. They're filler. But in the Wes Anderson movies, background characters are there and they're doing something that might be interesting, might be funny, it might be for a joke. But even if you don't see it, it doesn't matter because it's not really the focus of the film. It's just like a thing like, oh, here's a little morsel of something. Like, why not? It's so like complete, I would say.
There's also like stuff where like things happen and then no one talks about it. Yeah. But if you pay attention and it's like it makes you like laugh a lot of times, or like you're just like, oh, like you connect a dot without the characters have to straight out say it. Like in the beginning of the movie, Ralph Fiennes' character, he gets a letter. And on the letter, I don't know if you guys know, there's a kiss mark on it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no one says, like, look, it's a kiss mark. But you can, like, just seeing it, you already know who wrote the letter.
Yeah.
Because of what happened earlier in the scene before that. And other scenes like that where, like, super small things happen.
Yeah.
And if you notice it, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But if you don't, it doesn't break anything either.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you missed this one, like, no, Marvel movies, 30 Easter eggs you missed in the movie or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even want to watch a YouTube video for this movie. They'd be like, 30 things that happened. I'd be like, I'd rather just watch the movie again.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, no, you know what? You're right. I'll watch the movie again. I'll just
Go back and find those Easter eggs.
Yeah, like I would watch those MCU ones. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch these movies again.
Yeah.
Or I didn't watch the movie. Just tell me what happens.
Mm.
Like this one, I'm like, I have to watch this.
This is a movie I'm definitely gonna rewatch with my sister at least.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine someone being like, I have to sell you on this movie, and then like you just being like yeah, whatever.
Oh, I'm gonna have to sell her on
that would break my heart, honestly. Like if I showed somebody this movie and they're just like, that sucked. Like I'd be like,
oh my god.
What?
I'd be like, damn, really?
We should have said that as soon as we finished, Omar.
Oh, we'll probably transfer the spoilers. I think now, I guess.
Yeah, well, we can just talk about, like, I guess you can tell all three of us recommend this movie. Like,
yes. I was going to bring up, I'm like, oh, well, imagine someone showing someone they didn't like it. What about your dad, Alex?
Oh,
my
yeah.
dad would love this.
Really?
You think he'd be like, what is going on? Or he'd be like, this is it?
He'd probably just laugh throughout it.
Yeah, no, this is 100% all.
Yeah.
Like a recommendation.
I'll recommend it to him. I'm supposed to go see him later.
Oh, okay. Well,
Let's just excuse to watch it again.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, Dad, you want to watch a movie right now?
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
So let's hop into spoilers like in an elevator. Here we are on the spoiler floor now.
Yeah.
The movie sucked. I was lying the whole time. It was really funny. I think like halfway in the movie, I was like, this is like an amalgamation of every movie we've seen.
Yeah.
All in one movie.
Yeah.
We all thinking that?
Well, I was thinking about, like, in terms of actors.
Like,
Like,
and there's certain stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is kind of like in that one other movie too. Like this is like not on purpose.
Yeah.
But like it just happened like almost a lot of the movies we've seen kind of connected. Like this is like the pinnacle.
This is the Avengers of our podcast.
This is a season finale.
The only outlier would be, like, Unbreakable, because I don't think anybody from there is.
The only I thought it was Sacred Deer.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I
that
couldn't
one
even think
too.
of anything Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's certain shots where I'm like, or like certain scenes, just small things. I'm like, that kind of reminds me of the other movie. And obviously, actors, a lot of actors, not
Yeah.
maybe or whatever.
I mean, the girl from Lady Bird is in here. The guy. There was somebody from Boondock Saints in this, wasn't there?
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe's
How
in
are you
this.
gonna forget Willem Dafoe?
I don't know why I totally blanked out.
I just forgot that movie entirely. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then there's like personal connections to recent stuff, like, you know, the Tony Rivoli is
Flash
Thompson
Thompson
from the Spider-Man movies. We've talked about Ralph Fiennes endlessly at this point. We haven't seen an Adrian Brody movie though, have we?
Definitely not.
No.
It's so funny. I like Adrian Brody. I don't think I've seen a good movie he's in.
Really?
But I love Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
Like, I watched I say new Predator. Technically, there's already a newer Predator. So it's like an older Predator movie.
Yeah.
And he's like the main character in that. King Kong, the Percy Jackson. Was it Percy? Not Percy Jackson.
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. I was like, Percy Jackson, isn't that the fucking book series?
Yeah.
Peter Jackson, King Kong version of Jack Black one. He's in that movie too. I think he's also the main character in that.
Yeah.
It's an okay movie. And I haven't seen other Wes Anderson. I think because I know you mentioned like
he's in a
the
lot of
Wes
other ones. Yeah.
Wes Anderson movies, and he's an HBO show and I want to watch as well. But like I like him a lot. I think he's a great. And this movie, I was disappointed in the aspect that he's not in it as much as I thought he was going to be in it.
Yeah.
Because like we mentioned, like a lot of actors kind of just like go in and go out.
Yeah.
The only really two main guys is like Ralph Fiennes and Tony
Rivoli.
yeah, that guy, Flash. But like everyone else is kind of like rotating in and out every once in a while.
Yeah.
He's probably maybe like the fourth, fifth kind of guy who shows up maybe the most.
Yeah. I
was like, I wish there was more of him.
Yeah.
He's just his character. He's not supposed to be funny, obviously.
Yeah,
he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But he's just so funny.
Yeah.
His opening like scene with him, we can't repeat the things he says, the first lines he says in the movie.
Yeah.
But it was so funny though.
But I think what's funniest about that scene is like, it's from a distance. Like there's an echo. Like it's almost like someone calling you that from across it is someone calling you that from across the room. Like they didn't zoom in to get a close shot. Like it's just, he stands up, turns around, and yells at him.
It's funny because Sam showed me that scene before.
Yeah.
Because you were like, you should watch it. And he's like, that should be the reason why you watch, or something like that.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't know the context. And I thought they already knew each other. They don't know each other at all. He just said that just to insult him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which I was like, oh, that makes more sense now. So I'm like, why'd he say that?
I was more of a fan of the scene that happened right after.
Oh, they punch each
With the
other.
punching scene.
The punching
And
scene.
it's so weird because like Wes Anderson, it's like he directs amateurishly, like certain shots on purpose.
Yeah.
Not by like because he sucks or whatever. Like some of the CGI scenes are like bad, but they're like so bad
Were they-
it fits.
Were those CG?
The railway cars.
Yeah, I thought those were like
the
claymation.
I thought, I couldn't tell what those are actually.
It was funny though.
But they're like, or like when they're driving.
Yeah.
Like when the motorcycle and the sled stuff. Obviously, that's not real. But like it's so bad, but like it works.
It's like obviously green screen.
Yeah,
and it's not even like a bad. It's good. Like it's just like
it's like quirky. It's just like kind of weird. Like
a little unique. So.
And I guess that punching scene was also like that.
Yeah, because like it's just it's so obviously did not hit each other at all, and it's shot from like the way it's shot.
I don't know, the way it was executed was just really funny to me because like the first punch will go through and then you see Tony's character, he just like looks at him
reacts
for a quick second and punches him back.
Yeah,
and then like Willem Dafoe's character goes and just punches him too, and then he's like pops his collar, zoom in, he's like
yeah, he turns around to the screen.
Like, he doesn't even react. He just looks straight up, looks at him in the eye, and then punches him.
What's so weird to me is that Willem Dafoe looks so much older in this movie than he does in like Spider-Man. Like he looks old in this movie.
I thought it was interesting that like I was gonna bring it during the movie. Like, nah, man, I'll save it for the pod. Like he looks like a dog.
Yeah,
like his teeth in the back of his bottom of his teeth, he looks like a bulldog.
Yeah,
and I thought because his kind of role is like he's kind of like a hound dog for these people.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he just goes and investigates shit, and then he just murders people.
You say that. I feel like he was wearing a choker.
No.
He looks like the type of person that would wear a choker.
Or that character.
Yeah, that character.
Yeah, no, I didn't even notice it, but now that you mention it, yeah, he's totally
like halfway, and I was
dog.
like, he looks like a dog.
Yeah,
especially his bottom teeth.
Well, it's like the way he hangs open his mouth when he's like walking around. Yeah, no, he's definitely got.
That's
that
why
dog.
I felt like from him as like during the movie or whatever.
There you go, Warner. Whenever you do the live action Tom and Jerry movie,
yeah, he got that.
you
dog
know who to cast as that dog.
And he'll do it.
Yeah, he probably would. Actually,
like, I'm in. Like nobody's live action. Oh yes.
Alex, I'm really interested in. I'm curious. What scene did you think was the worst scene? Now
that I forgot what they were doing, but it's the scene with the car.
The car?
Yes.
Where?
Like towards the beginning
when they're driving.
When they took the painting.
Oh,
so many cuts, and I hate cuts in movies when they're unnecessary.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
So many cuts in that scene.
I think because I was
with the Bill Murray car? Or
no.
Oh, when they're leaving
earlier,
when the guy gives the painting.
When they took the painting.
Okay.
I think because I was like so like shocked what was going on.
Yeah.
I was kind of just in. You know, what I
This
mean?
is still like before, like while the movie's starting. I'm still trying to see if I like it or not. And
I was already.
Yeah, and then
like 5 minutes.
Just
in.
like. That was like straight 5 minutes of cutting, and I'm just like, do you really need this many cuts?
Yeah, I guess it was excessive. I thought you were gonna point out a scene that's always stuck out to me as kind of weird was right after the prison break when Zero and Gustav have that heart-to-heart moment where Gustav calls him a bloody immigrant and like insults him, and then he finds out he's a refugee. I've always thought that scene is weird because it like cuts to like a stationary single-person shot. And the background looks so like fake, like it's really weird.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of times where like it looks like they're not even in a place.
Yeah,
it's just like an obvious fake group. But like again, like I think it's just fine.
I mean, I feel like I don't know, but like I feel like there was more to like they had more to do there because it was obviously like a the set looked off, and usually when a set looks off, there's usually a gimmick to it, like with when they're doing the rail cars, like that,
the cable cars.
Yeah, that looks so weird, like just like that. And the purpose of that was like they would like go
cross cars.
No, this isn't that the scene with the they like go in, they come out, and they're like in a different area. Like the rail car will come in and they'll straight up just come out at like
on another part, a different part.
There's like no transition.
Yeah, it just kind of goes
like the rail.
Oh, okay, I know now. I was confusing the snow skiing thing.
Yeah,
that's what I thought you were talking about. I know what you're talking about now. That I think like there are scenes like that where like it zoomed out and you see them moving down. I'm like 100% sure it's not them either.
No, yeah, it's like a weird silhouette.
Yeah.
Like almost reminds you of like paper, like it's still like in a paper way or whatever.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like usually when the scene looks off, there's usually like a gimmick to go with it. And I feel like maybe there was something planned for that. That's why it looked weird, and maybe it just got cut.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like, I don't know, like there's stuff that looks weird sometimes, but it's not weird enough to take me fully out, but it's weird enough for me like to feel weird, like for it to stick out to me in the moment.
Yeah.
But I can it gets blown over because of the performances and some of the other visuals.
Another example would be like the snow scene. It looks weird, but that's maybe because like the claymation set they had set up was all just really bright, and they're like, we got to make the scene really bright.
Yeah,
because this scene is so bright it almost looks blue.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's the claymation's fault, and that did look kind of weird.
Although that scene does have one of my favorite parts of the movie when Willem Dafoe gets knocked off the cliff. It's so abrupt.
It was funny because like that scene, the chase scene in the snow thing, that's probably my least favorite scene. Yeah. So I thought one, it went too long, and again, like it looked like amateurish-y.
Yeah, it's
where I'm like, I was like, if it cut it shorter, I wouldn't have cared. But I kept going for a while. I'm like, I forgave him because I loved it so much. I was fine with it or whatever.
I don't know. I was fine with it because I love those scenes where it looks like they're wearing a GoPro.
Yeah,
it's an experimental GoPro. Yeah. But what you mentioned earlier, like the climax of that scene is like perfect.
Yeah,
because it's just so funny. Because it's so abrupt.
Yeah, he just immediately gets pushed off, and there's this awful scream.
Yeah, he screams like a genuinely frightened man who got pushed off a very high ledge to his death.
Yeah. Obviously, my God.
And I think this scene's also funny because like follows by because Edward Norton he's probably the third most recurring character. Like he shows up with a megaphone. And usually when you have a character with a megaphone, it's really loud for the audience. It sounds like, again, you are across that mountain, and you can kind of hear him. He's like, "Oh, you guys are trying." Like don't be like, "Oh," like really fucking loud. It's just so like normal sounding. It's like, oh, I heard him, but like, aren't you like
way
over there? It's like that. He mentioned like where like someone yelled like Adrian Brody, like, he yells, and it's like far away, so you can. It's an echo or whatever.
Yeah,
like a lot of that where like again like you are where the cameraman is. That's where you kind of are, so you hear it
from that
that perspective or whatever.
I found it funny how he stops them. He's like, "You're a fugitive," but they just saw him murder a dude.
Yeah, he's the other guy.
Whatever.
I think because they didn't care. I think because they no one liked him. Remember, because they met him earlier, and they think they already suspected he murdered.
I just thought that was very funny.
Oh, I wanted to point out, you guys, you remember Ludwig, the bald guy in the prison?
Yes.
When they're doing the prison break, that actor is Mr. What? Oh my God, he's the main guy from Reservoir Dogs. What's his name? Mr. Brown? The main guy from Reservoir Dogs.
Omar's the only one that's seen it.
Oh, he's also in what's that movie called? Pulp Fiction. He's the wolf, the cleaner.
Oh, you're right.
That's him. Yeah.
Like, who is he? Mr. White. He's Mr. White.
He's Mr. White. Yeah,
Mr.
Reservoir
White.
Dogs. But have you not seen Pulp Fiction, Alex?
No.
Oh,
He doesn't have that much though.
I think that's in our list, isn't it?
Maybe
it might be.
If not, with now.
If not, I have it.
He's following like Quentin Tarantino has always said that he likes to pick like old actors who are kind of past their prime and like bring them in for something, and that's why he brought in like John Travolta. John Travolta was considered like washed up before Pulp Fiction.
That's true.
Because he did Grease.
Yeah, that's how long that ago was too, like from that movie or whatever. So, he also brings Robert De Niro, Tarantino, and Jackie Brown or whatever. And I think even then at that time he was kind of considered like whatever. Yeah. And like that movie, like I don't think it rejuvenated his career, or anything, but like he's really good in that movie too.
Watch out. Fucking, I forgot his
name. John, whatever's gonna hit me with a 1-2, isn't he? Huh? Raging Bull's gonna come after me.
But Harvey Keitel in this movie, like he's like not only past his prime, he's like way like I haven't even thought about that guy since like
he's already kind of old in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. So like he just brought this guy in, and then his scene is kind of weird because like he's shirtless and his muscles are like twitching.
I thought he was like flexing.
I thought so too. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
You didn't know
this whole time. I think you were talking about that one dude that in the beginning that was being washed off the naked
no, that guy.
No, that's just
that is just a weird scene. Like that's just there.
That's just funny. Though.
Yeah, no, I thought that his muscles moving throughout the whole scene was pretty fucking weird.
It's so distracting.
I laughed at that scene because his tattoos are terrible. Yeah, and there's a tattoo of a woman who's like naked, but it's not even like hot. It just looks like someone drew like the worst, like most shitty side of a woman. Like it looks like a child drew it or whatever. But it's tattooed on his body. Mm-hmm. So you're just like, what? Why did he get? Why did that happen?
Yeah, no, we were watching this together, and I wanted to comment on. I'm like, why is this dude flexing constantly? But
I wanted to point out the tattoo.
I didn't want to ruin your guys' immersion.
The tattoo made me laugh so hard because I noticed it like halfway in that scene.
This is one of those movies where I simultaneously don't want to talk to anybody because I just want to suck it in. But at the same time, like I want to talk to everybody, be like, "Oh, you see that? What do you think of that?"
See, I'm like that too. Yeah. But because I was with you guys, I felt like you'd yell at me because I'm talking too much. So I try not to. But there are a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know if you can hear me. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Because I do that naturally out loud, anyways.
Yeah. I'm a pretty quiet person.
I'm the opposite
when it comes to movies. Yeah, no, I didn't notice that until I went to the movie theater with a friend recently, and like They
That's
were
different,
laughing.
though.
No.
Okay, sorry.
But like whenever they would laugh, like when I laugh, even in the movie theater or at home, it's just like a or like a chuckle, right?
Judge it.
They were like laughing, like not loud, but like it was audible, you know, like as loud as I'm
They had
talking.
joy.
Yeah, they're very expressive, and I've just now realized that I'm not as expressive with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I was conditioned from like high school because one of my old friends that I'm not friends with anymore, he would just constantly try to get people's attention while watching a movie. And it was annoying. You knew my friends back in high school, Sam. Yeah, it was So there was one time when during Avengers, he just kept grabbing my hand every time he saw cleavage. And I'm like, stop it, dude! This is fucking annoying. I want to watch the movie.
Yeah,
I am too hard watching cleavage. Don't have to touch me for that.
But the thing is that he only did it to get a reaction. He's trying to make me make noise.
Something.
But
Yeah.
then once he figured out he couldn't do that, he'd make the noise himself.
Jeez.
I always had an issue where like when I watch movies with other people, I feel uncomfortable in silence, even if there's a movie.
Yeah.
I just feel uncomfortable. So I'm like, I think I have to say shit. Like I have to make comments. And a lot of people obviously don't like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like my brother's always like, shut the fuck up. Like we're watching it. Unless we both seen it or something.
Yeah.
But like, but in the theater, like I react how I reacted during this movie. That's how I react in general.
Yeah.
And like if I laugh, I laugh. If I thought it was really funny, I laugh really fucking loud.
Yeah.
In the theater, I'm just the same. I usually don't care.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk in a theater. That's different. That's completely different. 'Cause you're in public.
Yeah.
If you're here, I really want to talk, but I think I was like, nah, we should watch this.
Yeah.
This is kind of like / work, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I only asked like I think a hand because there were times where they said shit and I couldn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think Alex asked one question, I answered it, and because of that, I missed that scene.
Yeah.
It's when Edward Norton showed up, and I just thought he looked completely different because
you're like, is that Edward
he's
Norton?
older now in that movie, and I was like, is that Ed Norton?
When he showed up, I was like, what voice is he gonna have?
Yeah.
Except he does different voices sometimes, right? And he kind of like he does like his like more like childish voice, which I thought was funny because he's like a police officer basically.
Yeah.
But he kind of has like this high pitch. And like all his workers are like look like they're murderers.
Yeah.
And then it's just him. He's like the leader that they all listen to or whatever.
Hello.
And he's like, what's going on here? It's like, I am so embarrassed.
Yeah. What I think is really funny with Wes Anderson stuff is I don't think he tells actors to do voices. Like,
Just act. He just says go.
the girl who plays Agatha, I can't pronounce her name. It's like some Irish thing, Saoirse or
Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
That was probably worse than anything else.
Yeah, but
she's from Lady Bird, the main character.
She plays a person who lives in this town. Like, she's not an immigrant or anything, right? So she's from Lutz, which is the stand-in for Austria or Germany. But she speaks with her accent, with her Irish accent.
I was gonna bring that up maybe like immediately in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, does everyone just like talk in their voices?
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of times actors have accents, but then other times they just like they're talking like American English.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be like in this like like fake Austria,
Germany.
place or whatever. And again, like her character's Irish. Edward Norton's character's like American. He's a regular American voice.
Yeah, like they're not doing.
Ralph Fiennes has his like accent or whatever. Adrian Brody sounds like Adrian Brody. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Willem Dafoe really talks in the movie, so I can't. His voice is kind of like
Yeah, it's kind of gruff and gravelly.
yeah. So it's like plays and then like Jeff Goldblum. He just talks like Jeff Goldblum too. Like,
Yeah.
everyone talks how you would never recognize how they talk.
Yeah.
Which to me, I've heard a criticism and a compliment of Wes Anderson movies that they feel almost like stage plays.
Yes.
Like the way they're set up, and having them talk just like in their normal voice kind of reminds me of that. Where it's just like, oh, I could just be like sitting at a theater like for high school watching like some kids do some scene. Like they're not.
If it was really good though.
Yeah, if it was amazing. But like they're not gonna have like great accents, so they might as well just speak normally, you know.
And also like it goes back to like the whole like how the movie's shot, where like the camera stands still like a stage play, where like there's not moving shit in a stage because it's fucking on the stage. You can't move shit or whatever.
It's your one perspective.
So like when you turn, it's kind of like, oh, we're switching to the different stage or whatever. So like I get that, and I think this movie it works for this movie. Or for him in general, Wes Anderson or whatever.
Yeah.
Like his, like I just love like the way like I'm genuinely interested how the camera building stuff works. Like if it's like a genuine actual building, he just like the way he just shoots it makes it seem like it's like a stage, or really is just a stage.
Yeah.
And like there's certain stuff that just cut off so his camera can easily move or whatever.
I've always thought he's worked with stages.
I think so too. The more I think about it, I remember seeing the French Dispatch,
Yeah.
like stuff for it, and it's on like a stage.
Yeah.
Where like how it moves like across the rooms or
I
whatever.
think most of the shots you're talking about are tracking shots, so it's not that hard to just hook it up to the track and just have it follow the people around.
Yeah,
That's what I'm like. Essentially,
Yeah.
like this building, but the building feels so real.
it does.
Because the way it's shot, like you see so many random spots, you're like, oh, this feels like a real building.
Yeah.
So you're just generally like, is this real? But like sometimes you're like, this seems like a stage play.
But then I remember I saw Darjeeling Limited, which is a movie about three brothers on a train ride in India. And I thought that movie was on a stage most of the time because a lot of it takes place on the train. But no, they filmed on a train, like on a moving train throughout India, and they just had it going back and forth so they could get like the movement going, right?
Yeah.
So like knowing that he did that in 2007, I can't imagine that he wouldn't do something similar for at least a couple scenes 7 years later, you know, with a bigger budget, you know.
I feel like probably like maybe because he had probably more places too he had to like use.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't see that movie, so I don't know how many like locations, or because you said like it's a lot of it's a train, so I was like, but this movie's like hotel, prison, like a mansion, like another train, like there's a lot of locations you have to go. So you kind of have to like
do so
more. You have to build more sets. So you could probably only do so much or whatever.
Yeah.
I think like this is it's so funny. I think literally the last movie I mentioned is Naked Gun. There's a joke in Naked Gun where like it's obviously shot in a way where like it's kind of like a TV show where like it's a stage or whatever as well.
Yeah.
So like when the characters like walk through a door, the main guy walks off the stage of the room and walks back into the stage of the other room instead of walking through a door.
Yeah.
So he just walks off the stage and you can see the stage and then he just walks back in. It's like, oh, keep the scene going.
Yeah.
Because like they have to keep talking, but it's through one door.
Yeah.
So he just walks sideways and just goes in. And it kind of reminds me, obviously not the same movie, but it's like the way the shot's well, where like you follow that stage and like you generally feel like they are just like, well, I'm really saying like how many shots like are actual one takes.
Yeah.
So many times like you see because again you just follow them.
Yeah.
But like they probably is cut multiple times.
Yeah. Well, like it's really interesting. I think Birdman does a similar technique because Birdman is set up, because you don't know much about it, but Alex, but Birdman is set up so that it seems like it's almost one take, the entire thing.
I think it almost is though.
It almost is.
I think it's like there's 2 cuts I think in the whole movie.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
But the way that Budapest makes it seem like one take, because it's probably not, is that there's usually something obstructing the view right before it transitions between rooms.
Or like they're like, oh, it's a thing, and like they're like, oh, it's a thing over there, and then like they point at it, and then you just follow that, and then you see that, and then it goes back to where they are. So you kind of like, it makes you kind of like, because again, you could. I'm saying this again, like because you're there, like you looked at it, and like, oh, let's go back to the location, but like it was obviously a cut.
Yeah, it's very possible that it's not even the same take. Like that next part could have been filmed like 7 hours later. You know,
like I think at the beginning of the movie where he's like, who hired you?
Oh yeah,
there's one guy. He's like, hey, what guy? And he just goes up, opens the door, yes, and then like they kind of talk or whatever. That's obviously multiple cuts, but it makes you feel like.
Yeah. Speaking of that scene, you guys want to talk about how fucking funny this movie is?
Yeah. Oh my god.
There's so many like small things that make it like 10 times more funny than this, because a lot of stuff about this movie is pretty like sad, or not sad, but like it's pretty like weird.
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes the comedy so great is that it's just so little like that. It shouldn't be funny, but it is.
Yeah.
And he also does this one thing where like you guys heard or you probably seen it, where like if you repeat something a certain amount of times, it's gonna be funny, but then if you do it too much, it won't be funny. Yeah, that the scene with like Bill Murray, like that was like the perfect.
Yeah, like well, he kills one guy, then he kills another hotel, then he kills another hotel, and it's the same shit. Like, take over.
And I heard Omar, because I thought you thought they were gonna make another one, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, another one, right? It's like that.
But they cut it right there just to make it like to land the landing, make it funny.
Because if it did another one, it probably would have been like, all right, I get it.
Okay, yeah,
keep going.
Yeah, I think that's what the sled scene, and like it went a little too long on me from that opinion.
Yeah,
like, if that was cut a little shorter, it would have been fine. But yeah, and like also like where everyone's serious. Like no one is like a funny guy. You know what I mean?
Like
Like,
Jack Black.
again, like I guess like Ralph Fiennes' character, because he's charismatic, the way he talks or whatever.
But nobody's out here making like quick whips.
Like Adrian Brody's character is funny because like he's not funny, but like what happens with him and his character is really funny.
Like I like the scene where he's in the elevator with Agatha and like she has the painting and he like peels it. He like looks over, peels it, and he just goes, "Nice picture."
Yeah, like picture or whatever. Or that scene where he's like he takes all the wheels out and he's like, oh, he looks at, he thinks we're the painting of the boy where the apple is, and he's like, what the fuck is that? Like this genuine like anger in that scene. He's like, did no one notice this? Like, I don't know. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, he's just so angry.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I think what's his face though, and he just smashes that paint. That scene is just so funny. Yeah. Because like he looks off camera. He's not even the center of that shot. He's like on the side of it. But like the way he's screaming, he's like genuinely confused and angry. Like, what is going on? Like, what's wrong with you people? Like, how did you not notice the painting? It was a completely different painting.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like that painting as well, like it's not the same size.
Oh yeah,
And you can see the dust mark of like where the paint should be. So it's so obvious it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, where like again the small details, like no one points that out, but
Small
it's, when you see it, it's really funny.
Like the name of the painting.
A boy with apple. They're like, boy with apple. They're like, it's so that scene where he's like, it's so valuable, and he tries to describe it, and then fucking Tony's just like, can I see it? Like, he just cuts him off. Like, can I see it? Oh, I guess yeah.
I think the Tony's character, like, he was so funny because he's always so serious about everything.
Yeah.
Like the scene with when he's trying to give his girlfriend the clue with the where to
the
find a
note?
faded.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want it. Like, well, I'll give it to you anyways.
I'm gonna leave it here. And before that, he goes up to the roof to hide from someone, and you think he would climb back down and try to give her back the note. No, he peeks his head.
He pulls a
under.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Goes upside down. I was like, I hear the note.
Yeah.
There's a Moon Knight after that. So he jumps across a
Yeah,
building.
he becomes
Honestly,
Moon Knight too.
one of my favorite scenes with him is when he finds a newspaper that announces that lady's death. That lady, Tilda Swinton's. His eyes like widen, and
Because he looks at it, he's like, oh, shit, and then he starts to run. He just books at full speed. He's like, oh shit, I gotta tell the guy now.
yeah, and then even that scene is funny because like when it zooms in on the newspaper, it starts with like, oh, we're entering a war,
and it's like,
and then look
She
down.
died.
There it is.
I mean, even then, like he has a stack of newspapers. He only needs the one.
Yeah, he doesn't take all of it.
He runs to where
Ralph Fiennes' character.
Ralph Fiennes' character is just with the whole stack of newspapers.
yeah, he's like, look. He doesn't even hand him one. He just motions over to read it.
All of it just turns them all over to be like, this is the thing. Look.
Yeah.
Dude, like his
Such a funny movie.
the scene you mentioned earlier where like they're outside and he yells at like he's like, you're an immigrant or whatever, like all this like terrible things to him. That scene was also like funny aspect of it's so interesting because you're following Ralph Fiennes' character and he meets 4 inmates as well that help him escape. But if you think about it, they're there for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Because later on in that movie, in the scene, they're like, oh, 4 of them are dangerous. And then there's like Ralph Fiennes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in that same scene where he's like, they're talking to each other, it cuts to the bus. And those 3 dudes just murder a bus driver. They just straight up murder a bus driver and then I assume they just steal the bus.
Yeah.
And then there was a 4th member who killed a bunch of guards. And he just, I think he had just one like pike, not a spike or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just killed about 4 guards.
Yeah, it was like a 1v4, and he came out almost winning.
Yeah, he almost won. He died, but like he killed those 4 brutally.
Yeah.
I mean, he did kill him with like the neck cutter. So
It was a throat slitter.
Yeah, so like, but like still, it's like 4 guard with guns. They have their weapons there. You see their weapons or whatever.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
just murders all 4 of them. Like I assume gruesomely. But like I think that was funny because it's like you're like, oh, he's finally free. You're happy because Ralph Fiennes' character is finally free. And then
in the
that emotional
background.
scene happens, and then in the background you're like, oh, these 3 murderers
There's just a murder happening.
prisoners
Out loose,
are
yeah.
now out loose and they just killed that bus driver. Now they're just free now.
Yeah.
I thought it was so
Yeah.
funny because it's like again another thing like no one ever says that they only barely mention it. The next scene where he's like 3 prisoners escaped, they're really dangerous, and 1 who's not, which is just Ralph Fiennes, who's just the normal guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Or that scene where he shows up in the prison and he's like all fucked up.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, oh, what happened? And he's like, you have to show you're the alpha dog. He doesn't say that specifically.
Yeah.
So you should have seen his face. He's like, I'm so sorry. We're dear friends now.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
we're
like,
fine.
Yeah.
I'm best friends. You should meet him soon.
And he does.
I want to so badly quote the Adrian Brody scene. We were just like, I'm not gonna say it.
That guy.
Yeah, he's like, and then I love how it goes back where he just like if you slept with my mother or if you even touched her dad, I was like, I thought I was a
Speaking
a
of that.
slur or whatever, and he's like, well, you are, and he's like, you're bisexual. That's so funny to me the way he says that.
Should we touch on Ralph Fiennes' character, bachelor life in this movie?
Oh yeah, it's presented so funnily because it's like he has one type of woman. They gotta be blonde, rich, old, vain, insecure, and then it shows like different like women that he's with, and it progresses like, oh, he's hanging out with this person. Oh, they're having dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, he's helping this woman swim. Oh, now they're like in bed and one of the women's naked. Okay.
He's a blowjob. He's a blowjob.
Yeah, the next scene is just him getting blown, and it's like, whoa.
And I love Jude Law's like because again it's like it's told through Zero's eyes and he's older, but it's like the one time Jude Law cuts in.
Yeah.
And he's just like, why?
Why'd you have to be blonde?
And it's like they were, and that was it. Like that's the one time he threw. I was like, what? And it's funny, like the end of the joke of him. It's like, oh, he became that.
Yeah.
He blonde,
Rich,
probably insecure.
vain,
Yeah,
insecure,
whatever.
yeah.
I think it's like, oh, the good thing was he got rich too. So
Yeah.
because he wasn't rich or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because you don't see him as a serious character, but you see him like that. You would think he'd like would be good at his job. He'd be like the most serious concierge.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking all his fucking
Clients.
He's like Alfred from Batman, if like he was just like a playboy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's basically what Alfred kind of is, like this perfect like butler or whatever, and he's basically a perfect connoisseur.
Yeah.
I hope I said that right again.
Yeah.
But like,
Concierge.
I think I know. I think it's also like there's a small scene where Tony, I guess is he the one who says
Rivoli?
it? Was he the one who says it, or older version of him says it? I don't remember.
Where?
Zero's character, where he describes what the job actually is. He's like, oh, I work from.
Oh, yeah.
Like 6 days, and then on Sunday it's a half a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like was it 5 a.m. to midnight?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I had to work from
That
the
was-
small ass
yeah.
room. How much time they have to eat?
Yeah.
And he's like, we have no little pay. And then they cut to Ralph Fiennes' character in his personal room, and how like he's also kind of in a shithole
He's doing
too.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's just as bad, but you can imagine he probably has to do more stuff
Yeah.
because he has to wake up earlier to like probably do more shit. He has to know more things, entertain all the guests, and blah blah blah. So like, they don't have to flat out say that he's like he's just basically like a machine of a human,
Yeah.
but he is, and like you learn enough throughout the movie that he's like the perfect person for this job,
Yeah.
and he's also like the perfect charismatic guy. And there's a quirk he has, and I was hoping the ending. I was interested how they'll make a joke out of it, where he does poems,
Yes.
and he always says poems, but he never finishes the poems.
Mhm.
And then every other character eventually also don't finish their
Yeah.
poems. And I thought the joke was like around when Willem Dafoe's character is gonna kill him, and he's gonna do a poem. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna kill him before he finishes the poem, and like that continues the joke. But no, they just kill Willem Dafoe instead.
Yeah.
But then and I think at the end of it, I think he does say a poem.
No, Agatha.
Yeah.
Is the only one to
Yes,
say
yes,
a poem.
She finishes and
She finishes the poem for him,
he looks at her and he's like, well done.
and then he dies.
And then he dies.
Literally slowly after that scene, he's like, oh,
Yeah.
he was shot or whatever.
There's a lot of like deep, like there's like lore. There's like lore to this movie. Like
my God.
this one shot movie, because there's like small little mentions. They mention Jude Law's character. The author mentions that there's a thing called common property. So there's an implication that this country that was a stand-in for Germany got taken over by the Soviets or the communists. And then everything's owned, by the country, so that no one has private property. So they mention that he gave up all his personal wealth just to keep the hotel.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you see at the beginning of the movie, that when Zero's introduced, there's like newspaper scenes. And if you pause and read those newspapers, it tells you what happens after the movie. Like, it tells you how Zero came from being the lobby boy, and what's his name, Gustav's heir, to becoming the wealthy businessman, to eventually relinquishing his property.
Yeah.
Like, it's all written, and it's one of those things where the newspapers aren't written like real newspapers, where once the because it's not the full thing on screen, it's like half of it.
Yeah.
But when the line ends, the next line,
Like
the next side,
line where you
just
can actually
continues the
read or
paragraph.
whatever. Yeah. There were times where I really wanted to pause it, but again, we're all three of us are watching together. I imagine if you read some of the stuff, they probably do say some stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you do that for a lot of movies, Omar?
No, which is why I'm like,
Okay.
I would have done it for this, because I'm like, he would, like, Wes Anderson would probably like
Put something
shit
like
in
that.
it or whatever.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
about to say, like, most movies, they just write some random shit and then
Like if
copy and
Edgar Wright
paste it
did this,
around.
I would believe I would read it too, because I
Yeah.
feel like he would write some shit too.
I mean, remember when we watched Ghostbusters last week? There was the all the newspapers.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
I didn't give a fuck.
Do ghosts have civil rights? Like that
Yeah.
was one of them.
Yeah, like they're just whatever, like just
Yeah.
filler probably.
Yeah.
But this one, I feel like he would just put it in. I was like, if you don't see it, who cares?
Yeah, but
if you do it, like it's just
it's just extra flavor. It's just extra seasoning to this little dish. It's so good.
There's that also in the opening scene, post with the lady with the girl, where it's old Jude Law,
Yeah.
and he's like, I guess he's like filming a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like his son walks in,
Like a pop
It's
gun?
like, stop, put that down. Like, it just cuts abruptly to him being a father for a
He
second.
shows up again.
And then he goes like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's okay. And then he keeps doing the
going,
thing.
yeah.
And I don't know if Alex knows it, where like when the camera keeps zooming in and Jude Law's old Jude Law is like keeps talking, the son slowly
He
points.
still has the gun.
But he points it
At
because he's
the
pointing
camera.
at his dad originally,
Yeah, and he
then he
points it at
slowly
the
points at the camera.
camera.
I thought that was really funny. Like as it got closer, he's like. Whoop.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is this, a fucking hostage situation?
I also thought that one crippled kid was gonna come back up, maybe.
Yeah, I
Oh.
really thought the
like
cripple
maybe
had
like he
something
like
to do
he
with it.
like not that he had a plot point, but like every once in a while he keeps cutting to that scene. Maybe like he like lost a leg, or
Yeah.
like he lost another leg. So
Yeah.
it's just like no leg
In a wheelchair or
Because that would be just be like that would not even like no connection to the plot at all. But you just see it and you're like, oh, that kid from earlier. Then he's just
Yeah.
like dead or something.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, the poor boy or something
Yeah.
like that. And you're like, oh shit, the kid died.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, there's all that background stuff that isn't necessary for the movie to be enjoyed, but it's like it's just there.
Yeah, it just adds to it.
Yeah.
If you notice it, good for you. If not, oh well.
You're dumb. You didn't enjoy the movie enough.
Yeah. And hopefully our next movie lives up to this.
You want to
I
choose
doubt
it?
it though.
Let's see whose name it lands on.
You and me and her, the story. Anyways, I hope it's another Wes Anderson movie. Because it's Sam, so hopefully he has good movies.
Well, you're in luck because it is the same movie.
Hey, let's check this out.
I say that, but I'll never forget that American Pie.
American Pie
is always going to be in that list.
We will eventually watch American Pie.
That'll be the first time we'll probably record it live.
Yeah.
And us being like, this is disgusting.
All right.
You're going to like it.
American Pie?
You're going to like whatever we get.
I literally always forget everyone's list.
Honestly.
It's American Ultra.
Oh my
We're
god.
that close. We're that fucking close.
It is just as bad.
Listen, let me just swap it out. Let's just watch American Pie, dude. Come on.
No, we're watching American Ultra.
That's fine.
After this,
both
there will be one less movie to keep us from American Pie.
We're closer to American Pie. That's what that means to me.
You're like, what are you, like, over 3? What was your first movie?
My first movie?
Because I know Boondock is yours.
Yes.
And this is obviously American Ultra is gonna be yours. I have no faith in this next movie.
I actually don't. Oh, Lady Bird was mine.
Oh, Lady
You
Bird
live
is.
to live. You fight another day, my friend. You're lucky.
I picked good movies. We'll see if American Ultra lives up.
That's funny because I think when we said that movie, I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
So in my watching the movie, I'm 0 for 3.
To be fair, I think Blade Runner was also his.
Oh, yeah,
was
maybe
it?
you're right.
I think so.
Blade Runner was awesome, dude.
Blade Runner was good.
You're
This-
1 for 4.
Budapest is gonna mess with the tier list though, because now I have to be like, well, shit. This is like, I would say it's good, but I don't want to put it above Blade Runner. But at the same time, I don't want to put Blade Runner above this. Like they're like on level, but for different.
They're like, yeah,
reasons.
completely different
Yeah.
movies or whatever. Also,
I
one's
would
like
still
twice
put.
the length.
I would still put Blade Runner over this.
Ooh, that's
I like serious movies. Not that I don't like this. This is definitely number 2.
I think I might put a Raging Bull over all these.
Oh, Raging Bull goes right to the bottom.
Because I think Jake LaMotta would beat anyone in this movie.
Raging
And all their other movies. He just win every fight.
No, we make a tier list based on
Who could beat Jake LaMotta?
No, who's the strongest main character?
Jake LaMotta.
Well, no, the Blade Runner would still be on top.
I don't know about Jake LaMotta, dude. He got that 1-2, dude.
Jake LaMotta, Sam.
As long as he like sees a woman, I think he'll just hit the 1-2
got it.
fast.
If Ryan Gosling fucked his wife, he's done.
You're right.
And Ryan Gosling won't know how to respond to that. He's just be like, what?
What? All right. Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you
I
for
am
listening.
so happy.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
Why are you so happy?
Because I love this movie.
Because you want to watch American Ultra?
Yes, I'm now excited.
Yeah.
Sam cannot pick a bad movie now.
Yeah. And you guys should watch it with us too, because now it's
Now available to own on DVD and video.